When it comes to a new generation of gaming, a console's launch is only as good as its first-party lineup. For the PlayStation 5, this has to be the best batch of games Sony have ever put out. Every single game was from an established franchise. But while the games were amazing, 2020 wasn't a great year for anyone. With restrictions and limited stock, somehow the PlayStation 5 was released. If you were lucky to nab one on launch, there was certainly something for you to play. That first time booting up the PlayStation 5, holding that heavy DualSense controller in hand, and feeling every vibration and resistance is an unforgettable experience. Sony started the generation off strong, and with that, we start off with the game everyone needs to play. Once you've purchased a PlayStation 5, Astro's Playroom must be the first game you play. It comes installed for free on every console, and is the perfect introduction to the PlayStation 5, and more importantly, the perfect introduction to the amazing DualSense controller. No other game on the market utilizes its features like Astro's Playroom. You'll be swinging, shaking, and blowing into the mic just so you can understand how powerful the DualSense is. Despite this pretty much being a tech demo for the new console, it's one of the best and most fulfilling tech demos out there. Team Asobi put so much love and care into the entire game. Astro's Playroom is platforming perfection. It's like old school PlayStation coming alive once again with a modern twist. This is the ultimate celebration of PlayStation's history. It's taken a lot for the brand to get to this point. Even if you weren't there since the beginning, you will learn so much thanks to the collectibles. There's always something to get excited about. Whether that's finding a PlayStation console or an accessory, or discovering one of the many iconic characters that help define the PlayStation brand. There's something for everyone to recognize and get excited for. Astro's Playroom is what I like to call a positive gaming experience. It wants you to sit back, relax, and simply enjoy the game. Each area is full of things to discover and will keep you occupied for hours. There's no grinding, no stress, it's actually rather peaceful to play, and you'll leave the game feeling pretty good. Now, if Sony and Team Asobi could finally release the ultimate follow-up to this game, that would be incredible. When the original Demon's Souls released for the PlayStation 3 in 2009, Sony declined to publish the game outside of Japan. Early reactions were negative, and to Sony the game was too difficult to play. But Demon's Souls proved Sony and all those doubters wrong. It became a commercial and critical success in the West. The game sparked the Souls-like genre, which developer From Software has continued to excel in with games like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring. So with the PlayStation 5, Sony would right their wrongs, proudly slapping that PlayStation Studios logo on the reveal of a Demon's Souls remake. Developed by Bluepoint Games, with assistance by Japan Studio, this would sadly be the last game Japan Studio ever worked on before it closed. Everything in this game was rebuilt from the ground up. There's new voice acting, the score was redone in the style of the original, animations were updated. While the developers didn't go crazy with major changes, there are new weapons, armor, rings, and other items for players to try. There's a photo mode, filters that can be used in-game, and a mirror mode called Fracture World, which reverses the entire environment. Even if Souls-like games aren't for you, this remake is completely gorgeous. Just like Bluepoint's work on the Shadow of the Colossus remake, they do not disappoint. Everything you love about the original is here, but the enhancements and new additions complement and make the game even better. Every level is hauntingly beautiful and comes alive. Character creation has been significantly improved with a ton of options and features that you can spend hours in. What's best about the remake is the lack of any easier difficulties. It was originally considered but wisely decided against. That's not what Demon's Souls is. It's a game that requires patience and planning. You will die plenty of times, and while it can be frustrating, it's how you learn to progress further and get better. Not every game out there needs a remake, but Demon's Souls shows how much a game can benefit from one while paying respect to the original and modernizing the experience. It's a game that honors the past and enhances it for the future. 2018 Spider-Man became one of the biggest releases on the PlayStation 4. To follow this up, Insomniac released Spider-Man Miles Morales. This is kind of like Infamous First Light or Uncharted The Lost Legacy, a game shorter in length, released at a lower price. And because of this, the story doesn't drag on and feels more self-contained while still giving that freedom of being Spider-Man. Everything about the original game is here with new additions. This is all about telling Miles' story and giving us a better introduction to the character than in the first game. When Peter has to leave New York, he entrusts the responsibility of the city to Miles. It's here where Miles has to balance his duty as Spider-Man with the relationships of his family and friends, all while discovering the kind of hero he is and that he doesn't have to be like Peter to be his own Spider-Man. It's Christmas time in New York City, and that means decorations galore and snow everywhere. It's a nice visual change from the original and makes New York City feel fresh to swing through. While Miles has a familiar playstyle to Peter, he is completely different. The way he moves, how he fights, he even has his own powers that Peter only wishes he could have. Miles is just a fun character overall. There's innocence with him despite everything he's gone through and all the growing up that happens in this game. He wants to enjoy being Spider-Man, and it shows through his personality. That's just one example of how different the two Spider-Men are from one another. From the podcast and music he listens to how he interacts within his neighborhood of Harlem. It gives us insight on not just who Miles is, but also how he mixes that into being his own unique Spider-Man. If you plan on playing Spider-Man 2, don't forget to play Miles Morales before you do. This is not just a simple one-off game. The story is crucial to understanding the character, his life, and a number of plot points mentioned in the sequel. Spider-Man Remastered is often overlooked as a PlayStation 5 launch game, and this is because of its exclusivity in the Ultimate Edition of Spider-Man Miles Morales. For years, Spider-Man Remastered was only available through this, but before the release of Spider-Man 2 in 2023, the remaster was finally released as a standalone purchase. This remaster includes all previously released content, including all 3 episodes of The City That Never Sleeps, as well as new suits, additional trophies, and new additions to its photo mode. Plus, those who originally played on the PlayStation 4 can transfer their saved data. Gameplay is smoother, textures are updated, graphics and its performance are improved, and the game takes advantage of the PlayStation 5's SSD for near-instant fast travel. But the biggest change to Spider-Man Remastered is Peter Parker's new face. According to Insomniac, the change was to better match Yuri Lowenthal's facial capture, and this caused huge debate on social media. Some welcomed the change, many didn't, and even today people are still debating this. Sackboy: A Big Adventure isn't the Little Big Planet game many want, and it isn't trying to be. This is a game that honors Little Big Planet but also tries something new in this 3D platformer. Up to 4 players can play on one screen or online in this chaotic adventure that sees Sackboy saving Craftworld from the evil Vex. Levels are full of charm and creativity. Every single level is themed differently in such beautiful detail, and is completely unexpected. You never know what you're going to walk into, how each level is going to be from start to finish, and that's one of the joys about the game. Everything about Sackboy: Big Adventure is one giant surprise. Musical levels are synced to popular songs everyone knows, but the biggest shock is Sackboy having a voice. He doesn't talk, but his grunts have a childlike quality to them. It's very offsetting for a character who was originally silent, and it doesn't take long until it becomes familiar. A lot of what makes Little Big Planet is in this game, like the game's difficulty ranging from easy to challenging depending on the level. Gadgets such as the grapple and hover boots return. Players not only fight to reach the end of the level, but also each other for the best score. And there are plenty of prize bubbles to collect to unlock a ton of new outfits to customize Sackboy. But A Big Adventure isn't without flaws. At launch, online play wasn't yet included. DLC costumes took months to release, but they are free and there are a ton to pick from. Even years after the game's launch, outfits and emotes continue to be released. 2 PlayStation tournaments challenged players to win exclusive goodies for Sackboy to wear, but sadly there were no new levels added to the game. Sackboy: A Big Adventure is a bold step in the franchise. Not everyone is a fan of it, but it's a cute and enjoyable game anyone can get into. Probably one of the most completely underrated and overlooked games on the system, and hopefully this isn't the last we see of Sackboy. The PlayStation 5's first-party launch lineup is one of the best Sony has ever done. While it lacks in new IP, thanks to Destruction All-Stars being delayed to 2021, it makes up in its well-known and returning franchises. There is something for all types of gamers to play. Players who want a challenge have Demon Souls, those wanting a classic couch co-op experience can play Sackboy Big Adventure, Astro's Playroom is great for any age, and of course so many out there love the Spiderman games. This is how you start a new generation, and it's a great selling point when people can get excited about the games they know and love. Despite most of these also appearing on the PlayStation 4, if you want the best experience possible, the PlayStation 5 is where it's at. What did you think of Sony's PlayStation 5 launch games? Which was your favorite? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for future videos. Also, check out my video on the PlayStation 3's Swan Song year, where I go over all the first-party games on the console before the PlayStation 4 arrived. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.